So, namaste, welcome to Satsang today. It's always interesting to not know what you're going to say until it's coming out of your mouth. Um, and it's a different way of living, let's just say, from how it previously was, which is, I'm sure you're familiar with it. Just a lot of planning would go on before a satsang like this, a lot of juggling with ideas of what to speak about and um, if I'm honest, a lot of trying to make sure that you really get this deeply, and then um, you'd like me more and I'd be more special, something like that. And luckily, all of that's fallen away. Well, actually, it really wasn't luck. It was a lot of consistent spiritual practice. Well, maybe they're the same thing. I don't know. But the one major benefit, one of the many major benefits of not having all that stuff going on in your head anymore is perhaps the capacity to look at something and see it for what it actually is. And when it first all began to get a little quieter upstairs for me, there was a bit of a shock actually, and then a sort of a curiosity arose of what was all that about anyway? What was all that noise and that thinkingness that went on for years and years and years? And that seeking and striving and searching and all of that, which I'm sure you're very familiar with too. And most of all, what is suffering then? What is it when I suffer? What does that mean? And why was I seeming to suffer and then suddenly I'm not anymore? What was the difference in that? I'm always looking for the shortest shortcut of all. And all the practices we're doing here are about working with what really worked for me, what made a difference for me, in the simplest and most accessible way, hopefully. That you can also find the same peace and equanimity. And as I looked at what the root cause of suffering is, there was a recognition that while ever we believe ourselves to be divided, there's going to be a wound inside that we just can't heal. And that the mind, although it feels that wound, it's not really going to be able to explain why it's there. The mind, from its perspective, we really do feel like and seem like a separate person, that we're different to each other. And it seems almost absurd from the mind's perspective, at least at first, that there might only be one being here, experiencing itself in a unique number of ways, in an infinite number of ways, in a unique variety, never the same expression twice. That seems to be the opposite of unity. What if unity, though, and diversity are two names for the same thing? If we turn it this way, it looks formless and unmanifest. If we turn it this way, it looks like an infinite number of forms. And I began to realize that while ever I have my attention on phenomena, um, my mind is going to be thinking about wherever my attention is. And that there's no way to have a silent, empty mind while my attention is on phenomena. It's just not possible. It doesn't mean like I walk around with my eyes closed. My eyes can perceive apparent phenomena, hear apparent phenomena. But then my attention hasn't also gone to where what my eyes are looking at. My attention has somehow opened up into this formless presence of whatever this is that I am, and that you are, and that we all are. And if we do that enough times, open our attention up, instead of zooming it in to one tiny phenomenon appearing inside this that you are, at some point, the attention forgets how to zoom back in again. So in our meditation here, we're just making a new habit to bring attention to what is already here and free. We were using this analogy. I was talking about this earlier today, and we were imagining if you have a beautiful garden full of hundreds and hundreds of perfect flowers and plants, and you've cultivated this garden to look exquisitely beautiful. And yet, in the middle of this garden, there's just one flower that is dying, and it's turning a different color. And all of your focus is on this one flower that's dying, this one plant that's dying. So everything else is being actively ignored because we don't realize that. And all of our focus is narrowed into this one tiny part of the garden. And the mind then starts thinking about this. Why is it dying? What did I do wrong with it? How do I stop it happening? And on it goes. This is what our mind is doing all the time. Our attention focuses on a phenomenon. Usually, the top phenomenon that we like to focus on unconsciously, of course, is thoughts. And even when we focus on an emotion that we're feeling, or on our body in general, or on an experience that we're having that we don't want, or that we do want, these are still subtle phenomena, and the mind will be engaged thinking about, because this is my entire world in that moment, right? My entire world has narrowed down to this thought or this emotion. And all this that we really are is still here, the fullness of who we are. But we can't seem to access it because our attention is laser-like focused on this. And sometimes it helps to realize how we get stuck in that, why we get stuck. For me, I needed a certain amount of understanding before I could realize why it was important to bring attention back to what is real. Because I am this infinite, formless, whatever I am, just same being that you are. You are this infinite power and potentiality before form. And then when you take all of that power and potentiality and focus it on one tiny phenomenon, it gets really big in your experience. It takes over your whole experience, your whole life even. It can be about this one phenomenon. Maybe some pain in the body, or someone who left you, or some emotion that you're feeling, or some diagnosis that you've gotten, or something. Not enough of this or too much of that. What if suffering then is the insistence on narrowing down our focus to this one phenomenon only? And all the things that come with it, all the thoughts about this thing. So you notice if you're in pain and you focus on that pain with your attention, your mind starts to desperately think about how to get away from this thing, how to undo it. And it became clear that I could never experience peace or lack of suffering, freedom from suffering, while my attention was still habitually zooming into a particular phenomenon. And I actually saw that there was this really deeply believed idea that if I look at this phenomenon, this problem long enough, it's going to disappear. And yet, every single time, my experience had been the opposite. It just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And in fact, the only reason that any problem had seemed to go away in my life was because um, I got so frustrated and bored with looking at this as the infinite self that I put my focus on another phenomenon. And I began to make a problem out of that then, to think about it. One day, this thought popped in that said, what if it will solve itself if I just get my focus off of it somehow? What if what I'm zoomed in on is um, being held fixed in that state when it would naturally move and change? The flower would continue to die, it would decompose, go back into the soil, nourish another seed that would grow into another flower. In our world, as our problems, can we ever solve them this way? What is the only thing then we can do? Well, that is to somehow learn how to bring our attention away from this very narrow focus where all this infinite potentiality and power is being funneled into thinking about this problem from every angle that the mind can, because the mind really feels that focusing on it like a laser beam is really going to solve it somehow. And the amount of energy it takes us, the amount of life force it takes us to ignore everything else in our experience in this moment. Everything. And there is a lot going on in this moment and this moment itself. The amount of life force it takes to ignore all of that is what we call suffering. Suffering is simply a lack of life force in the body because it's taxing. We're having to spend a lot of money, a lot of energy rather, on suppressing and ignoring everything else. And I actually felt excited for the first time. Maybe suffering isn't something that we just have to deal with. Maybe it's something that we can learn to move away from. If suffering is a focal point, a focus of attention, then we're always free to come back to what is effortless. In the effortless just being here, just being this moment, not someone in this moment, but just noticing this moment as it is right now and all the ways it's appearing, or just being aware of the awareness that's looking at this phenomenon, the awareness that knows where attention is, or just watching the stillness that notices this movement going on in a manifestation. That just that. At first, it's just a momentary respite, a nanosecond of not suffering as our attention comes back to what is true. And in our meditation and our contemplation and self-inquiry, that's all we're doing is we're finding ways to bring our attention back to what is already effortlessly here and cannot suffer. The difficult thing is in all of this is we don't realize how much it's costing us to narrow our focus until we stop doing it, just for a second. First, it's intermittent. Open, closed, open, closed. You are this already. You're just watching your attention do this. Not suffering, suffering, not suffering, suffering. And you can see the states of mind that come with this. When is this problem ever going to end? Never going to change. I can't seem to fix it. There never was a problem. I can't believe I ever thought there was, the mind says. And then 2 minutes later, it's back into talking about the problem and what it thinks we've done wrong. The only remedy then for this is to bring attention back again and again through intention to notice, desire to notice what is real, what is already here, and what may have been overlooked. So we're going to do that in a moment in our meditation. We're going to do a little meditation for about 15, 20 minutes. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring attention away from what we're experiencing. There's nothing wrong with what we're experiencing. When we let attention linger on it, it messes up the flow and it can't resolve itself. Manifestation, whatever problem we have going on right now, or every problem we have, is trying to resolve itself. A problem and a solution are two ends of the same thing. But when we only see it as a problem, we hold it frozen in that place, sometimes for lifetimes. Imagine lifetimes. The only remedy then is to bring attention to what is experiencing rather than what we are experiencing. There's something here that we've just called I or me, and you can check it out right now. It's what's listening to these words. It's what's speaking these words. It's what's noticing how your body feels. It's formless subjectivity, not a subject, not a someone experiencing something else, not a subject and an object. You just take attention away when we notice it's focused on what we're experiencing, how our body feels in meditation, a thought, any of that. We're just going to use to come back to what's experiencing it, pure, formless subjectivity. Subjectivity is just another word for formlessness or experiencing. You are experiencing. You're not experiencing something or someone. You are experiencing itself. You are that which experiences. So let's just sit for a few moments and notice this subjectivity, this experiencing. And we can start, as always, just by getting nice and comfy. You don't have to sit in any particular position. You don't have to close your eyes. You can if you want to. And we're just going to start by noticing our breath moving in and out. There's just the breath moving. And you, whatever you are just experiencing the breath. Now just shifting attention away from the breath and towards what is experiencing. There is something here that is experiencing the breath, the body, these words, the satsang, all of it. And we can't see it with our eyes, it's formless, purely subjective. You can only experience it. You can only experience yourself. It's a bit of a mystery, actually, what this subjectivity really is, what this presence, this silence really is. And bringing attention to it. We're just gently becoming more interested in what's experiencing these phenomena than the phenomena themselves. We're not pushing phenomena away if a thought arises or sensation in the body. We can use it to point us back. What is it that sees, that knows that sensation, that thought? There's something formless and intelligent that you are that's pure subjectivity, watching, just watching. You're not a person experiencing something. You are pure experiencing itself. You are the capacity to experience. And we're just bringing attention towards it. And we don't need to make our attention stay on this subjective experiencing. It will wander back to a thought or a sound, a sensation, a noise. We don't even need to make it stay. We're just choosing not to let attention linger on the phenomenon and bringing it back to what is noticing all of this. Meditation then is simply an act of gently favoring what really is, not opposing anything, just favoring what we really are rather than what we're experiencing. And just noticing what is noticing. Just noticing that you are always experiencing. from time to time, just checking where attention is, bringing it back to what is subjectively experiencing, what is noticing. You don't need to make it stay there, just to bring it back when you notice it's wandered off again. Just being more curious about what it is that is actually experiencing, rather than what is being experienced. What if every thought, every feeling, every experience was only there to point you back to who you really are? Anytime that you notice that your attention has wandered back to a thought, to a memory, a sensation, just becoming really curious as to what is experiencing it. This formless subjectivity that you are is intelligent and watching. And it remains the same no matter what is being seen. When our attention is noticing this, the body relaxes, the mind goes quieter, all by itself. This formless subjectivity is always here, always watching. And it's now just beginning to notice itself. In a few moments, we will bring the meditation to a close. Before we do, we can set an intention that our attention comes back to this subjective experiencing, whatever it is. Often, that attention comes back over and over again. We notice when our attention is on this, that we are, somehow the phenomena resolve themselves. So whenever you're ready, and only if you want to, you can open your eyes and have a stretch, have a drink. Bring your awareness back to the room that you're sitting in. So I hope you enjoyed that meditation, remembering just a few simple things about meditation. And that is that we do not need to make attention stay on what is real. We're only bringing it back, knowing that it will wander away again. It's the nature of attention to move. We're just bringing it back to what is most important to us, to who we really are already, that which is experiencing what is real is what is experiencing. So simply bringing attention back to what is real is going to begin to undo our capacity to suffer, our capacity to resist anything. In the last satsang, we were talking about saying yes to everything, even to the no that sometimes arises inside when there's a phenomenon that we do not want, such as fear or pain or a lot of thoughts. And if we notice this subjective experiencing that we've been looking at, which is our real self, can notice that all it can do is to say yes. That's all it can do. It can't say no. The yes is that it will experience anything equally. It's just as conscious and present to fear as it is to bliss, to thoughts as to no thoughts, to pain as to joy. It's just as present and conscious, this experiencing that we are, whether we're experiencing what we do want or what we don't want. It is all in. It can only say yes. So I'll open it up if anyone has any questions or challenges that they're going through right now regarding awakening. Um, Feel free to raise your hand here on Zoom and we can have a chat about it and see where we get to with it. Or we can just sit. We'll go to Sue. Yeah, when you're ready.
Hi, Helen. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I've been in I guess, an uncomfortable place, following on from the Satsang last week, which was I loved, and resonated with me, but then seemed to have a different impact, which, yeah, was initially, it was kind of a sense of um, seeing that kind of everything that I had been doing was about trying to get things to change,
Yeah.
be different, and just this sense of kind of I'm never going to get anywhere. I'm never going to get there. Kind of from that um, from that place almost, and then it so it, yeah, even the sense of the practices felt like that, like, oh, kind of what's the point, and uh, yeah, a sort of sense of um, yeah, well, so what now? Kind of, and I ended up sort of feeling, well, I've just got to see what happens. And I still found myself doing the practices, but there was also a sense I'd that I'd been kind of feeling that, oh, the reason why I can't get anywhere, or I won't kind of, succeed at this, is because I'm not doing it correctly, or I'm not doing it consistently enough. And yet I was kind of, I was in this loop with it, um, feeling like, well, if I did do it right, or I did do it consistently, then there would be that chance. And then since then, I suppose there's been this kind of going between, or there's been I guess it's like a hopelessness kind of feeling that's been, I think it's been there forever, really, and being avoided. So I suppose, there's a saying yes to that, but yeah, it's just a sense of a kind of not knowing almost what to do with that. And then the mind comes in with all, I just feel like I'm stuck. The mind is stuck with all these paradoxes. It feels like everything's about these paradoxes. And if I could somehow solve them, then there would be a chance to sort of break through.
What are you trying to do? What is all this efforting for towards?
Feels like it's about avoiding, it feels like this avoiding this hopelessness that feels like it's kind of underneath everything. And the meditation we just did was really helpful, because at first I thought the kind of sense of zooming out would be the opposite of saying yes to, almost like saying yes to the hopelessness and just be, but it wasn't. It was like there was space for the hopelessness to be there. So it did.
Yeah,
did
all the
help.
practices that we're doing here are just ways to say yes. You know, or perhaps Clara said ways to realize you've always and only said yes. But let's look at the main thing. If we want to get this resolved, let's look at this inability to do it right or enough or whichever, right? There's a sense that I'm never going to be able to do this or do it properly or get it done, something like that. And there's a helplessness that comes along with it. What if the fundamental idea there here underneath this problem is what the issue is? The fundamental idea here is that you have to do this, you have to make this happen. Can you see that? And
Mm.
then, excuse me, there's a pressure then on all of us to do it right, or do it enough, or do it consistently, or all of that. But let's just, for a moment, experience together what is experiencing this conversation. What is it that's experiencing this conversation we're having? What can you tell me about that which is experiencing these words?
How to say anything kind of about it. It's
Hmm.
feels like a just like almost like a just a vast space, kind of a nothing. It feels a bit like it's a bit feels like it's somehow associated with the hopelessness as well, somehow, kind
Hmm.
of.
Because as you notice it, maybe an idea pops up that you're not going to be able to stay here or do it right or come back here again and all of that.
Mm,
And if I could only keep my attention on this, everything would be fine, the mind says. But to notice this space, this whatever you want to call it, formless space, nothing. Did you do anything?
mm. It's the opposite of that.
Did you even move the attention? Did you pick it up and bring it away from the thoughts and the hopelessness and over here? Or did it somehow move on its own to look at this nothingness with your interest in this formless nothingness? Somehow it went on its own. When I asked you to describe this that is, whatever this is, you didn't even move the attention, right? So can you do this? Is spiritual practice something that we have to do, or is it just happening as part of the movement of phenomena? If I asked you to be 100% certain of this, and I'm asking you to say yes, you have to be 100% certain. You can't be 99%. Are you doing this spiritual practice? Did you do this meditation, or did it just happen?
It's, I'm definitely not doing. But it's like part of me that's kind of almost like saying, don't, you know, don't give up, don't give in, kind of like
Just do more of
almost
it.
if
Do it harder.
yeah,
Do it more consistently.
if
Do it better.
almost like it's not safe to yeah, maybe I don't know. I'm thinking maybe if I'd had some of the bliss, I I might feel differently about I mean,
If you'd had some of the bliss, then the only thing that would happen after that is there'd be an urge to do it even more, to get even more bliss. Believe me, I've been there. I was just going to say, been there, done that. So there's these two experiences going on right now. There's this part of you that's just here, effortlessly, formless, cannot do anything, right? And then there's this other part of you that's thinking that it has to do and that it's not safe to stop doing. Can you just let both of those be? Don't pick, don't choose. What happens then? Don't set up camp in any one. Just notice. There's this that's not doing anything and never could, and there's this that really wants to do and is quite scared of stopping doing.
yes,
How do you
kind of
now when you just don't choose?
yeah, relaxation somehow, a peacefulness in that, but a sort of sad, sad kind of peacefulness.
Yeah, it's okay for sadness to be here, right? As well as peace. And let's just go a little further if you want to. That which thinks it really has to do, that which is sad right now because it can't do it right. Can it ever realize that there's nothing to do? You can, though, right? You can. You know there's nothing to do. And do you even need to do anything about this that wants to do? Can you let it fall apart a little?
Just feels so freeing to think that I don't have to choose. Yeah, such a
Experiencing experiences itself, and then it goes back to experiencing the old idea it's had about itself, which are just thoughts that go around. I need to get back to this. I need to do my practice so that I can get back to this and then learn somehow how to stay like this. What if those are just thoughts and you are just this already that's watching even that? And there may be a sadness because there's been a tremendous amount of imagined effort expended here towards getting to this, and something feels redundant all of a sudden. Like, what's the point then?
mm,
Pushing that away, not trying to choose, just noticing these two versions of how you can live.
mm,
And that by not choosing, somehow we automatically live as the formless space. It's what you're experiencing right now, isn't it?
yeah, there's a real sort of shakiness inside, but it feels kind of an okay, kind of even though I would not, well, mine's sort of instinct is I don't like that, I don't like that, but somehow it feels like it's okay to be there because yeah, it's just just does feel that's how it is.
There's a very, very old building falling down inside of you, right? And finally, you're not running around trying to put it back together. And it can just fall apart. But actually, it falls together, it falls into wholeness. You can feel that somewhere inside, right? Something is beautifully being destroyed here. And the mind is a little unnerved. That's okay.
Mm.
Your old idea of who you are, like all of us, is mostly built around what we think we have to do to attain freedom. And it doesn't
Mm.
enter our thought process for so long that that might not be anything, that we might not have to do anything. Just
Mm.
this. This that will not choose is what you are. This that cannot choose.
Mm. Feels like truth inside me,
Mhm.
even if it's shaky.
And the body says, yes. There's a little shaking going on. The body will just free itself of trapped energies that have been stuck and all this imagined efforting that's been going on.
Yes, so exhausting. Thank you.
It's exhausting and we're relieved when it's finally over. And then it also didn't actually happen. And both of those are fine.
Mm.
Yeah, both of those are fine.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for your bravery and sharing. Thank
Thank you.
you. We'll go to Sheila, I think. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Hi, love.
Oh, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, thanks.
Oh, hi. Um,
I
I
think
really love you.
I love you
Um,
too.
um, I actually recently rediscovered that my personality is actually autism or Asperger.
Could you say that
So
again?
it's kind of like,
I'm having trouble hearing you clearly.
oh, sorry.
Sorry. Your signal is cutting in and out.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Maybe um,
I'm really sorry,
um,
love. I can't hear you at all now. Can you hear me?
oh, yes, I can hear you.
Oh, wonderful. Let's try again. Hopefully it's okay now.
Uh, oh, yeah. Um, um, so, like I feel like I'm having some personality change recently. I rediscover myself to be actually belong to the like autism or Asperger spectrum. So the way how I have been taught to respond to the how people uh daily talk, react, I realize it doesn't really suit me very well because of my natural um, spectrum.
Mhm.
So my emotional body has like become very reactive. Like like it feels like the nerve system is getting rebuilt itself, and the process is just make myself feel very reactive, and sometimes I feel like being overly sensitive, but I think it's good because it's in alignment with my natural self. I know it won't suit into the mainstream or the majority stream because my natural nerve system it goes to maybe just one side. Um, yeah, it just make my emotional body become like very reactive and got a lot of like anger. And then I did some research about I think because I actually belong to the autism spectrum, so sometimes I will show up as to be a little bit um afraid of people, and um, and then there's the other spectrum. I think I also have some mm, like a psychic thing inside me, and I can tell some people. I don't know if you heard about the dark triangle personality. Some people they are narcissistic, or those people like they don't they do whatever they want as long as there's no punishment or whatever. So they so, so the process for me is to re 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 feel peaceful with my natural personality within um, the society, but, sometimes I really become like very overwhelmingly sensitive because I when I was little I probably naturally be like this, and then I was brought up to build up my nerve system in another way, and now like everything just I need to regrow the way I was before, and still somehow find a way to live peacefully with the way how people, how people don't care as much. Um, yeah, I think I've become like a bit, my emotional body has become a bit very unstable.
Is it actually unstable, or is it that you're finally allowing yourself to feel some things that you haven't been able to feel before?
Yeah, I think I have always been like
Mm.
suppressed it, but I know what I know is real, but like on the society level, I'm not allowed to let it out, or I just because I rediscover it. If I let it out, I feel I will. I don't want to be disruptive. Um, but I know what I know is is real, is true, because some people they just negative, they just don't care, and they pretend to say, oh hi, how are you, and deep down I know what they are thinking, and then they pretend they're nice, but they're not nice. Um,
Do you actually know what they're thinking? Really? This was a thought that my mind told me so many times, and I listen to it. I know what this person is thinking. When I actually looked, I had no possible way to know what they're thinking about me. And if you believe this thought, you'll torture yourself infinitely, right? I know what this person is thinking about me. And then your mind goes into a whole story about what this person is thinking. And then we try to change our behavior to try to change what this person thinks about us. But all of it is built upon this original lie to ourselves that that I don't know what you're thinking about me. You don't know what I'm thinking about you. I've never really known what's in anyone's head except this one, right? And I just wanted to put that in there because if you carry on with this, then you're going to find it so much more difficult. Your mind will tell you that people are only being nice to you for a reason, or that they want something, or that they don't like you, or that you're not good enough, that you need to be different, that you're not allowed to feel this or that, that what they're thinking and that they don't like it when you feel something. But really, We're here for truth. Can you be certain that it's true that you know what they're thinking?
I'll put it another way. It's not. Maybe it's comfortable, like, like, like the interaction with, people. They have the intention to make you. They have you feel the interaction, the chemical reaction. It's comfortable, or they or it's not. It's discomfortable. It's
Mhm.
because because um because like when you talk to people, because we know, you got good intention, you want people feel good. It doesn't matter what you think, what you don't think, because your intention, you want to make people feel comfortable. But some other people, they don't. It's like the intention, they don't. They negative, um and then yeah, I mean the social norm, like you got your feeling, some people make you comfortable, some people don't make you comfortable, and then the social norm tell you something else. You want, yeah, well, maybe just do not conform to the
Well,
social norm, but yeah,
what's making you comfortable is that you're not thinking about that person. What's making you uncomfortable is that you're thinking about that person. It's always an inside
yeah,
thing, whether we're comfortable or not. We're only suffering from our thoughts about something or someone. If I don't think about you, or if I'm honest and admit that I don't know what you're thinking, then there's a peace here. If I think I know what you're thinking about me, then I'll be disturbed. It's actually our thoughts about these other beings that are disturbing us. If it is the other person that can actually make me feel comfortable or uncomfortable, then I have no power at all in how I feel. I'll be disturbed whenever anyone has any negative thoughts about me. What if it's closer and the solution to this is closer than you realize? What if you can, for a moment, realize that everyone is lost in their own thoughts, everyone, until they're not. Even if that person thinks they know you, they don't. They know what they think about you only, and that's different. Nobody has, nobody that's lost in separation has actually experienced anything or anyone. It's something to think about, right? Something to ponder.
yeah,
Because if it is like you say it is, then there's nothing you can do about this. If it's the other people that have control over you and how you feel, then there's nothing we can do. But I'm always free to choose inside and to recognize that this person, even if they're speaking their thoughts at me, I don't like you. You should go away, or whatever their mouth is saying. Their mouth is only verbalizing what they think is true about you, and they've never met you, and you've never met them. It's thoughts talking to thoughts about thoughts. I had to be honest enough to say, I really don't know anything about anyone, especially myself. I don't know. I don't know what anyone on this Zoom call is thinking about me. I don't know what you're thinking about me. You don't know what I'm thinking. There's a uncomfortableness in the mind about this because it feels uncertain, but there's also a great freedom in this, a great freedom. And actually, it allows the nervous system to calm down then. The nervous system is agitated and traumatized because it's having to live every thought we think is true. If I think that all these people on this Zoom call right now don't like me, or I'm not helping them, or something like that. It's my nervous system that feels it. And if I think that everyone does like me and I am helping, my nervous system will experience that. It'll feel more pleasant, but I'll have to keep going back around again. Instead, I can realize the truth, which is I don't know anything about anything. What my mind thinks it knows is only that, what it thinks it knows. What your mind thinks it knows about everyone else and yourself. Can you be certain of it? If you can, I'd like you to just sit with this and ponder this a little bit today for me. And see how your body responds to it.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Lots of love. Thank you.
Mm.
We'll go to Kavita, and then we'll finish with Richard. Hi, love. You're muted there still.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, thanks.
Hi, I'm from Mumbai, India, and I think it's the second time I'm attending your meeting.
I've
So
been to
I'm,
Mumbai. I've been there. Yes, wonderful. Yeah, glad you're here.
thank you. I've been listening to your talks and just wanted to ask you a question similar to the first one in the same thread. You know, I've been going to Tiruvannamalai for some years now, and Ramana's teachings, which is, like doing the active inquiry, the who am I, like every thought that comes up, not to pursue any thought, to like bring it back to source of the knower, and that any desire that you have should be looked at and taken. The whole process of not letting a single desire be there,
Mhm.
finishing it all completely, every vasana, every sanskara, every, like you could say, embedded thought patterns that we keep repeating. So that kind of my question is that how do you kind of deal? I mean, what is your teaching on this? Because what you're talking about is that effortless being, which is always there. But does one also get into this active, so-called, process of efforting and taking every desire and cutting it to its root, bringing it back to its root.
It's um, it's a combination, really, these teachings between recognizing who we already are in our meditation and our self-inquiry. And then with our contemplation, we're then beginning to undo these samskaras. But we're not examining every single thought, because I just found that to be endless.
Yeah.
As soon as I transcended something, the mind is adding things underneath, right? And the list is
Yeah,
getting
yeah, yeah.
longer. Instead, we deal with it by category. So, any emotion that we're feeling is coming from a belief that we haven't seen is untrue. So, for example, fear points to some really unconscious idea that I'm not safe. I believe that idea so much as apparent separate being that I'm not safe. And I experience fear, and then I'll experience this I'm not safe, and the fear and all the ways it's playing in my life. Not enough money, health,
Yeah, yeah,
energy,
yeah.
sleep, whatever. Um, and so we use the emotion to find the belief, and then we question, is that really true? Is it really true I'm not safe? Because if instead we just look at the conscious thoughts we're having in the mind, these conscious thoughts are coming from the emotion, which is coming from this unconscious thought. And the mind is trying to explain why we're not safe in this example. So I found it much easier in the end to actually go to the root of it, which is this idea that there are three big ideas that I had to look at. Um, the idea that I'm not safe, that I'm not good enough, and that I'm limited, I can't get what I want. And once those had been really looked at, all of the vasanas, all of the samskaras were branches on these three big, three big branches coming from the tree of a separate self. There were three big branches, and then all these little branches coming off. When I dropped off these three branches, I'm not safe, I'm not good enough, and I can't get what I want. There was only this sense of being separate then that was left. And actually, that begins to crumble as well because most of the sense of a separate self is just built on all the problems it thinks it has, right? That are
Yeah,
endless.
absolutely. Yeah.
I found it, Ramana's teaching is beautiful, but I found I needed something that I could do to work on these vasanas. And as we seeing who we are and also seeing who we're not with contemplation, it's like rowing a boat with two oars. For I was only doing meditation and inquiry, I was just going around in circles, rowing one
Mm,
oar. And all this stuff was coming up to look at, this old thought stuff. And it was just endless, like we said. I began to realize I was missing something. I have to have a way to look at and just take my energy away from my investment in this idea I'm not safe. And I realized that by asking a question, I can challenge it. I can either believe I'm not safe, or I can ask if it's really true I'm not safe. I can't do both at the same time.
mm,
Question automatically brings us back eventually to that which is always here and effortlessly safe, could never be unsafe. These desires are really very simple. If we look at what desires we have, to feel loved, to feel safe, to feel free. Maybe all of our desires are about that really underneath. So it's a kind of a combination. I did a lot of too much meditation and then no way to deal with what came up, and it really messed my body up.
yeah.
Did a lot of looking what needs to be looked at, but I was doing that as a parent separate being, so it was going on forever.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
So I kind of found this balance, this um, way of rowing with two oars.
Yeah, I think that's true. It cuts through it then, it just cuts you and it brings you back to who you are. But
Yeah.
what about relationships? Like some of the people you naturally dislike or whatever, the past. So how would you deal with something like that? Would you again bring that up and say, is it true that I'm separate from this being? Or, is it true that there's somebody else?
Yeah, we
Would
can
you
ask
do
that
that?
kind of question in our inquiry. Are there really any other separate beings? Or if there's a strong emotion around it, we might ask emotionally first. So the relationship problem is a symptom of the emotion, which is a symptom of the belief. So as we challenge the belief by tracking back, what is this emotion telling me? So if there's intense anger, I think it's at someone, but really it's coming from something much more fundamental inside. And this relationship can't heal while I'm still holding on to this idea. So we do the contemplation on it, what's underneath anger. It's got to change both body minds in the relationship because I'm not a separate person doing the
Mhm.
contemplation, right? It's
Right.
the infinite self doing it or not doing it.
Mhm.
So I found that pretty much every problem I ever had, it began to resolve itself. Um, because before that, I was insisting you should change to make me happy or feel
It's true.
safer, or
Yeah.
you should make me feel loved.
Mm.
And it wasn't working out so well for me.
Not for anybody, I guess.
Say again, sorry.
Yeah, I said not for anybody. It doesn't work out for anybody,
Yeah.
right?
And I actually had this astounding realization that this other person cannot change. If I will not change the filter through which I'm looking at this experience, I can't get what I want. If I put those spectacles on, then all I can see is that, me not getting what I want. All I can experience is that over and over and over, infinitely, in an infinite number of ways. And that other person must also have that belief inside. So how could it ever resolve? And it's this amazing, like, how has any human relationship ever worked at all with us all believing these thoughts, you know?
Mm.
Anyway, I'm digressing now, but
No, it's interesting because in a way it's like shadow work a bit, right? You have to every time examine your false beliefs and the
Mhm.
lies that it carries and
It
bring it
gets
back.
quicker and quicker because the more you see this belief isn't true, and I've only been experiencing the belief. I'm not actually unworthy. I've just been experiencing this thought that I'm unworthy. Then you've got all that life force back you've invested in trying to make yourself better somehow. Even awakening, right? We come to awakening as a self-improvement project at first. You know, awakening will fix everything. Um, and then you start to see the more life force you get back from the thoughts, it's more obvious who you really are. So you go to the next belief, but even more certain of who you really are, and it's even more clear that's never been true. And eventually it's just like, oh, that's not true. That's not true. That was never true. That's never true. Before we're doing this work before as a separate being who's feels powerless anyway, right? I've
Mhm.
got to go through all of these thoughts and beliefs, and it's never going to get done. And why aren't I any good at this? You know, and it spirals round upon itself into some self-hatred or shame or something.
Yeah. Another challenge I've been having is that I find it intense sometimes, to always be aware of the awareness. And then I find myself escaping into Facebook and social media, like the
Oh,
escape, the escape, the food escape, the television escape.
food, television, alcohol for me, eBay, and at one point on my iPad, I had about four different card games, a
Yeah,
jigsaw puzzle
exactly.
game, and I was just constantly avoiding what is.
So then you beat yourself up and you say, "Oh God, I couldn't even do the most simplest of just being aware, of my awareness, the simplest thing, and I'm not able to do it."
I noticed something, which is I was sitting on the sofa here watching the TV, avoiding meditating, and I realized I'm aware of what's my eyes are seeing on the TV. Later,
Yeah,
it's like I noticed that when I was playing a card game, which I was addicted to at the time, the solitaire on my iPad, I was aware of the screen and the cards and the hand pressing, it's
yeah.
like I actually can't get away from meditation. So I did my
That's
Netflix meditation for a while. It
that's a popular one.
it worked for me. It's just notice that you're noticing, right? You're watching the story on the screen and you're noticing the screen as something that's watching. I'm experiencing, like we were this morning before,
Yeah.
I'm experiencing this program. It's literally, whatever doorway in is easiest. I know what's on the TV. I know what my mind's thinking about what's on the TV, even. We just
That's
don't
the
have to be
beauty.
so hard on ourselves, right?
Yeah, yeah. And that's the beauty. We can't really be away from this
Yeah.
that we already are. It's just that we think that we should be behaving a particular way to pay attention to it.
Yeah. And paradoxically, when we don't care if our meditation is Netflix or, Om Namah Shivaya, it's just kind of, it tends to be more of this, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. You just notice that you're noticing all the time, all the time. This just becomes clearer, right? Whatever I'm noticing is changing.
yeah.
Sometimes it's what's going on in my mind as I'm seated in meditation. Sometimes it's what's happening on the TV. Sometimes it's what another person is saying. But I'm always aware of whatever is moving and changing. And then it just kind of softens and it's a lot more fun.
Yeah. I already feel so relieved listening to you.
Oh, good, 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 good.
It's
Yeah.
like a
If there's one
relaxation.
thing, I know I can't do anything different, but if there's one thing I wish I'd done differently on my journey, it would be to have more fun,
Mm.
not take myself so seriously.
Yes,
I was
all
a
of us.
legend in my own mind. The epic failure of me.
Well, I've been 30 years on this path of meditating and japa and seva. So it's just so kind of, you have to be doing, you have to do tapas, you have to do a lot. And, it has, that perfection standard, you're not good enough.
And if I
And so,
can't
yeah.
glow in the dark and levitate yet, I'm obviously not doing it right, right?
Yeah. And my light has to help other people.
Yeah. But your very effort to try is what's helping people.
Amazing.
Wonderful. Lots of love.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll finish with Richard. I don't think we can hear you. Nope. Still can't hear you. Okay.
Can
There
you
we
hear
go.
me?
Yep, wonderful.
Oh, now I have
Oh,
to hear you.
can you hear me now?
Yes. Okay, good.
Because I'm not that good at lip reading. I was kind of a little worried.
Right. No, that's fine. Well, good morning. It's very early morning here still. Um, I guess what do I want to say? I have a hard time these days coming up with questions. So I'm just going to say something about what's going on.
Maybe we could just sit and stare at each other for a while. That works. I'm good with that. Sorry, I'm
Um,
just in a silly mood now.
yeah, it's fine. So, uh, certainly meeting you has changed my life a lot. And when I came to the retreat with you with my friend Peggy last fall, that was a very powerful experience, and I have definitely not been the same since. She and I have been talking a lot recently about I don't know what she would say, but what I would say is that there's this feeling of the inevitability of the process,
Mm.
of the awakening process, and the question, to the extent there's a question, the question is it okay? Is it okay where we are, or are we trying to go further? You know, and is there a reason to try to go further if you believe that further will just keep happening all by itself?
Yeah, I mean, there's a realization for me that it's always been happening by itself. I've just been watching
Hmm.
thought stream change, the feeling content of the body change, from thoughts about separation to eventually more thoughts about who I really am, and then
Hmm.
self-inquiry questions popping up in my head. It is a recognition, it's inevitable because there's no separate being doing this. And manifestation is just moving towards the full expression of whatever this is that I am through and as this mind and body, as it is with you and all of us.
Hmm.
Only thing that's changed really is how much more conscious of what's already happening we are now, right?
Yes.
And unless we're noticing thoughts I have to do, and more the mind might say, oh, well, it seems to be happening anyway. And if there is a more, it's not an out there more, is it? It's more. Let me, whatever that is. I'm trying to talk with my hands and not really succeeding, but hopefully you
Mm.
get the feeling.
Yeah.
There's just I just want to fall in love with this even more. Whatever that is, I don't know. And that looks maybe it looks like more insights, more effortlessness, more joy, more fun, less tensionless thinking we have to do, thinking that we might not make it. Greater recognition of there's only one place this whole thing is going, and that is that
Hmm.
for the rest of forever, a deeper and deeper seeing of who I've always been, deeper and deeper.
Yeah. Yes. And I guess the only other thing I would say about what's happening these days is I I feel like love is helping me make better choices.
That's a good way to put it.
Like in the just context of everyday life, love is helping me make better choices and see things more clearly and notice my blind spots. And there's lots of recognitions like, oh, I was so busy thinking about how I was behaving towards this person. I wasn't really letting in how they were behaving towards me. Um, so I think things are continuing. I think I'm continuing to relax more.
Mm. Are you having more fun?
It's it's complicated. I feel like one of the things that's really been happening uh, in a huge way is that activities that I was attached to, um, I've been having the experience of like, oh, this was a thing I thought this was part of my identity.
I was doing this to
Um,
get something. Yeah.
or just that I was used to doing it. And so I had certain activities that I just said like I actually that's not one of my favorite things to do. So I could spend less time doing that and then I could have more time for doing other things. So a lot of what's been going on the last year or so is a lot of, in a way, negative, like letting go of things and going like, actually, this isn't my favorite thing to do. This isn't what I really want to do. And I have surprised myself many times about that.
Yeah,
I
there's,
also am, well, go ahead.
I was just going to say there was a point where it seemed like everything stopped, meaning everything I was doing, like, why am I actually doing this? And there was more of a, what do I actually want to do? Like, what do I want to do with my life? Not like a big question, but am I going to do something I think I should do? Or am I actually going to do something? I mean, what needed to be done was done, to look after the body. But like, what was it is exciting to me now, rather than just doing the
Hmm.
same old habitual things over and over again?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, this is all beautiful and fascinating, and I look forward to seeing where it all goes.
Mhm. It's there's no way to describe it really, but it's just, mm, yeah, I can't describe it. I've got no words. Hopefully, yeah. It just
Yeah.
continues to deepen, and every day it's more beautiful. Every day you realize you're living in paradise, and it's clearer and clearer you always have been.
Mm,
When life isn't centered between our ears, it's
right.
different.
Lovely. Th- Thank you, Helen.
Thank you for sharing. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for what you've shared today. It's been so beautiful and so honest and authentic. And as we were saying, if we could sum up this whole thing, maybe let's not be so hard on ourselves, and maybe let's try and have a little more fun along the way, or at least not be so serious, you know? I think I spent about 7 years where I didn't laugh once. And that's really astounding to me now. Oh, when I was really seeking, really seeking, like proper seeking. I don't think I laughed once, hardly, in that 7 years. It's quite astounding. I'm making up for it now, though, so happy ending. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Helen.